Did you know in 2003, the United States Department of Energy set a goal that by 2020, 5% of the total electricity in the United States will come from wind power? Well, wind turbines are super fascinating, and they are successful electricity generators. I've always been fascinated by wind turbines, especially living in Kansas and seeing them on long drives. That's why I researched how they work. I want to tell you some of the different components of wind turbines. The first component I want to talk about is the size. The second component is how they work, and the third component is where they can be built. To begin, wind turbines are massive. The tower that holds the turbine averages about 300 feet, which is roughly the size of the Statue of Liberty. On top of that tower is the nacelle, which holds most of the mechanical parts that actually generate electricity for the turbine. These have been reported as being big enough for a helicopter to land on at times. Next, attached to the cell, the front of the nacelle, is blades, which are very long. There's usually about 3 of them. And you can see by this tiny man on this blade here that they are extremely big. According to Peter Kelly, former vice president for the American Wind Energy Association, successful wind turbines have blades long enough to span a football field and are still light enough to turn in the wind. That's crazy considering they're about 180 feet each. Now that I've discussed the size of a wind turbine, I want to describe to you how they work. First, wind turbines use wind power to generate electricity. The yaw drive actually does this for the turbine. It turns the turbine towards the wind so that wind can spin the blades. Wind needs to be going between 80 and 55 miles per hour for this to happen. 8 and 55 miles per hour for this to happen. Any slower than 8 miles per hour and the blades won't spin, and any faster than 55 miles per hour and it can damage the turbine. Once those blades start spinning, they spin something called a low-speed shaft, which connects to a high-speed shaft inside a gearbox. The low-speed shaft is spinning between 30 and 60 rotations per minute, which is not fast enough to generate electricity. But the high-speed shaft is spinning between 1,000 and 1,800 rotations per minute, which is perfect to generate electricity as long as it's connected to the final component, which is the generator, which converts the rotations into electricity. And there you have it. That's how a wind turbine works. I just described how wind turbines work. Now I want to tell you the different places they can be built. First of all, they need to be built in windy areas for them to be successful. But this can include a single wind turbine on a farm, or even a large group of wind turbines called a wind farm. Wind farms are the cheapest form of electricity currently. Communities can also house wind farms, and those communities have incentives like lower electricity costs, and also their tax dollars generated from the wind turbines can go towards their schools, medical centers, and roads in their community. Last, wind turbines can actually be built offshore, like this one, which was built offshore of Maine in 2013 and is the only wind turbine to be offshore in United States waters. Other countries, like Belgium, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Denmark, already have wind farms offshore, like this one, which is offshore of England. According to the Wind Energy Technologies Office, the Department of Energy has already provided development of offshore wind farms in United States water. In conclusion, I have talked about 3 factors related to wind turbines. The first was the size, the second was how they work, and the third is where they can be built. Remember the 5% electricity goal set by the United States Department of Energy? Well, in 2017, we actually surpassed that goal with 15% of the total electricity being generated by wind power in the United States. A little bit closer to home, in 2017, 36% of the total electricity in Kansas was generated from wind turbines. With technology developing faster than we ever thought possible, the future holds no bounds for wind power. Thank you.